Hello, here we are, week 212. Right, been a busy week. I've been a busy boy, I have. So, right, first thing, deal with the light. So, last week I said that the light stopped working. I dug out another one, G4 Pro, and this one has no Mobius link with it. It's got the chip, but it doesn't work because I've opened it and had a look. The chip is in there. I did swap the chip over from the light that does have the chip that works with the Mobius and put it in that light, and that chip didn't work anyway, so I don't know what that's about. So basically I'm just running it simple on and off. It's off at the moment because when it comes on, it's on full blast, so I didn't want to just do 12 hours a day at full blast, so I'm slowly ramping up the number of hours it's on each day. So it's just on a simple, like a smart switch, and I think I'm at something like 4.5 hours. I think it comes on at 10 and goes off at 3, half 2, 3, something like that. Yeah, so it seems to be okay. So that was that. The issue I did have is when I took the old light off, it's got the 4 screws in the bracket on the top. Basically, I normally just undo the screws, and then because they're countersunk, you can't get them out easy. So I lower the light and I leave the screws, and then I take them out of the bracket after. So I did that. I lowered the light. I caught one of the screws on the thread of the light, so it bent the bracket down, and then I pulled the light a bit more and it pinged the bracket up. All 4 screws shot up in the air and they all dropped in the tank. So I was like, okay. I found 3 of them. The 4th one, I spent an hour searching for one of those tiny little black Radion light screws, and I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know if it's gone in the rock, in a coral. I don't know where it went. I just gave up in the end. So I'm not sure what effect that's going to have on the tank. Volume is on my size. It's a very small screw in a very large system of water, so I'm hoping, as you do, hoping it has no effect. So I guess if I start seeing weird stuff, I'll run an ICP and see if I get any. I don't actually know what they're made of, so I'm not really sure what I would expect to see, but I'm pretty sure I can't be the first person in this hobby to drop one of those screws in the tank and not find it. But it's just annoying. It's just one of those things. Yeah, so that was that. So that's the light. So the light is now kind of working. It's not ideal. I'd like to get it on the Mobius if I can. I've still got the other light. It kind of flicks on really quick and then just automatically goes off. And I thought I could maybe swap the boards and the pucks and everything over with this one that works. And then, I just went, I'll just either get it fixed or I will just at some point get a different light or a new light. Yeah, so anyway, so that's that. So if you look there, that is my tank, which is under the tank, and it's got all of the stuff, or nearly all of the stuff that was in my sort of small satellite tank down in the sump room. So that satellite tank is now gone. It's been shut down and it's sitting in the garden. Actually needs a very good clean. It's a Royal exclusive or acrylic tank. It's only got a clear acrylic panel on the front. It's got an acrylic top as well. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it really. I will clean it and I guess it'll end up in the shed with the other 9 tanks or something. And yeah, so once I've moved that up, I ordered the crate and that came, and now if you look at that picture, that is the sump extension. It's kind of like 90% done really. There's nothing that I am under pressure to change. It's all running, working fine. So I ended up turning off the returns for about 3 hours. Took about 3 hours in. So basically what I had to do is I had to drain out about 200 litres of water, then turn the returns off so that when it came down, it didn't overflow the sump. I dumped that 200 litres of tank water outside, down my soak away, and then I put the crate in or a position. Very difficult to get it in. I did that classic where you measure a gap like that, and I went, yeah, that'll fit in there. And then you forget that actually to get it in, you have to tilt it at an angle. And obviously once it's at an angle, it's kind of longer because the diagonal is longer than just a flat horizontal. So it's absolute, I mean, for a while I thought, it's not gonna go in. I'm gonna have to turn it around and it's gonna look awful. But I managed to fit it in the end. So it's a slightly sweaty situation to start with. So yeah, it's all in it running. I've had to put a little kind of stand for the Abyss pumps, the return pumps to sit on. And the thing I want to do basically is to drop them down so they sit on the bottom of that crate. And then that means I can lower the whole sort of volume of water down in that crate by another probably 3 inches. Just gives me a bit more capacity when I turn the returns off, because it is, I reckon, about 3 mil from the top of the crate when I turn the returns off. So it is absolutely at the limit. So if I can drop the returns down, it's going to give me 70 mil, 75 mil when the returns go off. So just a bit more. It's a bit sweaty close at the moment. And then the other thing I can do is I'm inside the other sump. So the Royal Exclusive sump's got 2 bulkheads in the end of it, and I can raise the water in there by putting some 90-degree bends on those bulkheads, so it just means that water level, because the water levels in the sump is quite low and I'd like it a bit higher. Yeah, so it's worked out all right actually, so worth doing. So basically all I want to do now is, once I've lowered the Abyss pumps, I will add another crate, smaller one above it. I think I've seen one that's about 300 mil by 400 by 500, so very small really, but I'll just have it as a put frags in, because I'm all constantly getting frags smashed off and stuff. If I get anything happening in the spawning tank, I just want somewhere to be able to put it really, and that will be quite an easy position. Yeah, so that's what it's at. So the only thing I haven't got anymore is that satellite tank down there. I could separate it off of the system. So if I wanted to add anything or just observe something, I would take it off of this system and I would just do separate water changes on it. So I haven't got that ability to do that anymore. So where that white plastic container is, I could put a little tank on there. Probably got one knocking around in the shed, and I can get it to overflow into my waste over there. And I put things like, so if I buy snails, for example, I'll put a bunch of snails in there and I'll just leave them in there for 3 months, and I'll just do some water out of this tank and jug it. And it's very simple, but it's just a very easy way to quarantine them. So I'll probably do that at some point. Let me just feed the fish. I think that's, oh, the other thing I've got is I have finally got my bottles of distilled water, my 5 litres, got 5 times 5 litres I think, to make up my ABC reagents that I've got. So I will hopefully make them up this week, and it may possibly solve my Trident error. At the moment I'm only really using that Trident for ALK, because it's the only test that works. So I've got it on manual and I just click 2 or 3 times a day to see where my ALK is at. And manually once a week I'm doing my mag and my calcium and, you know, my nitrates and my phosphates and stuff. So I mean, I'm not massively missing it, to be honest. Calcium, magnesium, they don't really change that much. So out of the three, I guess the ALK is the best one to have working. But yeah, it's just a pain. So anyway, I'll see whether mixing those reagents, making a difference or not. Just trying to think of anything else on the go. No, I just need a good tidy up really, and it's getting messy again. I've got loads of stuff I've taken off the tank and just kind of dumped it here. Loads of plumbing stuff knocking around. I will tell you what I did do as well. What was I looking for? So I haven't lost. I've got a spare, well, I've lost, yeah. I've got a spare blade for my flipper magnet. So that I'll get a green line along the bottom. When the blade gets a bit blunt, I can't get it off. So if I put a new blade in, I can just whip along there once and it gets it off instantly. And I can distinctly remember when I got the new flipper, because you remember I dropped my last one and cracked the, I think it's in here actually, I cracked the, yeah, so I've kind of got a spare. Oh my God. Yeah, so I super glued it on. Yeah, so I've got this is the old one. But somewhere, when you buy them, you get a spare blade. And I went, oh, I'll put that wherever, keep it safe. So I can think where it is. So I've had a good look, and while I was searching for the blade that I've lost, do you remember that I said I had 3 Radion XR30 mounts because I had 3 over my old Red Sea tank and I couldn't find them anywhere, and I ended up getting another one. I found them looking for the blade. I found them not in my shed of stuff, but in my overflow small shed of stuff in a poly box right at the bottom of a stack of poly boxes. I found them wrapped up in a plastic bag, all 3 of them sitting there. I was like, oh, but I didn't find the blade for the flipper, so I guess the best way to find it would be to buy another one. Yeah, I think that's where we are really. Yeah, tank is slowly coming along. Corals are all growing. Yeah, I think that's it. Right. Anything else? Anything else at all? Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.